Weebo.
All right, everyone, you ready? We're
No,
about to
but let's
project.
do
We're
it
about to
anyways.
permanently project ourselves onto the internet forever.
Well, I think we're
Uh,
streaming now, so yeah, we're live.
oh,
Hey!
live? Oh, that's
All
some
right.
hack shit.
Yeah, absolutely, right? All right, so hello everyone, and welcome to Fang Fables, a Real-Play Fabula Ultima podcast, live stream web series, or what have you. I'm your host, Raphael. Awesome. We, guys,
What's the order?
I forgot.
Yeah,
It was CC
go on.
PB. We're
Oh
getting
No,
to
it was
be.
no!
actually
Yeah.
me first.
We
I'm the
were.
one who
It
screwed
was.
this
It was.
up.
All right.
Alright.
Okay.
Go on.
I'm Phoebe, also sometimes referred to as PB, but I'm sure you could assume that.
I am Cece.
Oh, my turn. I'm Roger. I'm sometimes referred to as Scarf. Now B.
I'm True.
hi, True.
All
What?
right. Good
Well,
job, guys.
okay. All right, guys, let's
You
let's
got
call it a day. We
one
did. We got through the
We done
introduction
it.
paragraph.
This has been
Let's
our
go.
Fabula Ultima.
This really has been our Fabula
Wow.
Ultima. Anyway, so today we're starting off with a lovely session 0, where we'll be discussing some world building, some character design, and just general table setting for our campaign. Coming to pretty much every podcast service near you on Saturday and always live on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. True, you're our dungeon master for today, so why don't you give us the laydown?
What?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know what else I was expecting, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was really I said it was gonna be short and sweet. I figured the DM would take it from here.
Um, yeah, as Rafa said, we're gonna be going over a few of the world building. We're gonna be going over the regions, capitals of the regions, and what happens within those regions. Since everyone has basically is in charge of their own regions, as you can see for the map on the left side. And then we're also going to be talking about the lore and the character lore and how to intertwine them within this session 0.
Sick.
Should we maybe do a little bit of a debrief on what Fabula Ultima is, or no? Are we
Uh,
just assuming a baseline level of knowledge
That's.
here?
I
Or are
mean,
we
maybe maybe we shouldn't assume a baseline level of knowledge on our indie tabletop that we are currently playing. I think it's
Yeah.
fair. We can go over some general stuff.
Yeah.
Anybody want to take it away? I can give
Here,
my
I can
my
I
Hobart
can
spiel.
yeah, I can give my little briefing, and then if anyone wants to fill in anything that I forgot, we can go with that. So, for those of you that do not know about the system, it is a tabletop RPG that is heavily inspired by JRPGs. And a lot of the roles, the classes, and the flavor of the various aspects of the game are all very inspired by JRPG tropes and different things that you might be able to find within the genre. It is unique in the fact that it is titled and presented as a collaborative game. So, in other tabletop RPGs, generally the game master, dungeon master, will go ahead, make the world, make the story. The players will slot themselves within that story, and the game master tends to be solely responsible for the narrative, driving it forward, everything so on. Fabula Ultima does encourage interaction between the players and the game master in order to actually create story elements. So, like what was just said, we all decided to make a part of the total setting that we are going to be playing in, called Fang Ridge, which I'm sure the others will get to in a moment. And we all took a small portion of the setting and developed the lore for it. And so a big part of this is going to be all of us actually discussing the lore with each other. There's been tidbits before this stream, but the bulk of it hasn't actually been discussed. And we're going to see if we can get all of these various things that we've made to all mesh together into one world and actually create a collaborative story where our characters are both driving forces and the protagonists. Did I forget anything?
You got that. That was What else? What else is like relevant?
Well,
I will say that we will have one person not here, and that would be the backup person whenever we don't have the full four.
that's right.
The super
Uh,
secret forbidden fifth
forbidden.
member.
Green Ranger.
You know what? You
Green
got there eventually.
Ranger. Yeah.
Righto.
All right.
So I think another big difference, just mechanically from other tabletop RPGs. Obviously, we know the big boy out there is D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, which is played on a D20 dice. Whereas in Fabula Ultima, we are actually working with only 4 stats for each character, which are might, insight, willpower, and dexterity, which can go anywhere between a D6 and a D12 die, which would be the other. Well, I guess the only major mechanical difference, other than things here and there. But yeah, sweet. So,
Let's see.
shall we start off with some world building?
By all means.
Yeah.
Let's.
Sweet. So, as CC mentioned before, we're all taking a little bit of a part in building the world itself. The world as a whole, the Fang Ridge, which you notice here on the map. Well, before actually I go into the spiel, how much of the lore that I put in did you actually use before I go on a random spiel?
For which one?
For the world as a
villain?
whole. Yeah.
Oh, for the world as a whole, I didn't write anything.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, 100% kept it all.
Right.
Whatever changed depending on people's lore was changed.
That's right. So at base, Fang Ridge is a fairly, I don't know if you'd consider it geologically old or new, but there's essentially 2 different eras to this world. The old era and the new era, marked by a quote-unquote discovery of this archipelago. The Fang Ridge, of course, gets its name from its fang-like mountain ranges both on the north and the south. There is a custom species here of elves, a subrace known as the Netherine, and we'll learn a little bit more about them later. But other than that, there's nothing, I don't know, perhaps to mention about the world as a whole other than that. So, True, do you want to go off like one by one on the cities that we each designed?
Yeah. Do you want me to go first, or do you want someone else to go first?
We could do it in like where we each just take turns giving like an elevator speech, or we can, I don't know, we could give our own fancy little explanations as to what's going on in these different places.
You know, I am actually a fan of all of us going on like a 30-second elevator pitch about our thing, and then we just pick one to keep explaining for a little bit. I'm kind of down for that idea.
You know what? It's like one of those fun group improv games.
Okay, well, we're playing a tabletop, so it's pretty much what we're going to be doing.
Exactly.
As a business major, I'm absolutely terrified of elevator pitches, but let us proceed and let me remember the lore of the place that I made, because I should have had that pulled up.
The lion does not fear the elevator.
Yeah, just take a few minutes to grab whatever lore bits you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just pulled up my Word document that I wrote for this.
Word document? I wrote this in my notes app.
I wrote this on my WhatsApp, actually.
I just schizophrenically ranted to True about it.
Well, that's the way we do it sometimes here at Fabula Ultima. Or at Fang Ridge Fables. We don't own Fabula Ultima, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Honestly, unfortunately, I was
we go over Ultima.
We go over to the
for investors.
Arena. Yeah. I can invest $1 or $2.
All right.
I can invest my faith in the system.
So maybe we start off. Well, actually, maybe we end with where we're starting in the campaign. Does that sound good to everybody?
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, you go first. You go first.
All right, bet. All right. So the area that I took some time to make was the Kingdom of Aurora, located in Launch, short for Avalanche.
Where is
Which-
where
which
is that
island is?
on
Yeah,
the map?
which
It's
one?
the big snowy one.
Okay.
And core things involving this region include lots of snow, as one might expect, lots of art and music, and also lots of lycanthropy and really ancient cults and traditions and stuff going on there. Which, you know, actually, staring at my own icon as I say lots of lycanthropy, and I
was gonna say,
look
I'm
at
not
everybody.
I'm not
And
gonna
we all
lie,
look back
Chief,
at you.
You may have set yourself up for that.
Hey, it's what can I say? I gotta keep it by the book. Yeah, there's the biggest things involved. Just there's two very old beasts that have long since essentially ruled that area until the collective efforts of people have come together to try to make it into a place that's a little bit more peaceful. And what that will entail for the future is left a mystery until we fully divulge it further.
Let's go. And I guess we'll go straight up. I guess just yeah, straight up. CC?
All right, so that is me. So, as was so kindly zoomed in on by Rafa, we are looking at the Essequiba. It is a massive airship in the sky, and as you can see, those smaller airships around it are the sizes of full galleons. This is a wonderfully massive airship, and I have created some basic lore for it, where this is subject to change, as there were a few discussions prior to the stream that may adjust this. But essentially, Fang Ridge, as we discussed collectively, is an area that was first populated by 13 guilds. And when the 13 guilds landed, they landed on seafaring ships. And once they became trapped in the Fang Ridge, one of the guilds, there are guilds, I'm sure we will brush on those later, basically made it their goal to attempt to find a way back to where they came from, back to the mainland. And so they began tinkering. And over many years, they eventually scrapped the galleons and remanufactured the Essequiba, a skyship, to attempt to make it back by air rather than sea, which still ultimately failed. So now, the Essequiba flies around the skies of Fang Ridge and is responsible for the manufacturing of new skyships, which they sell and use on loan to the various other places, and encourage technological advancement for the Fang Ridge, specifically in that area. There's a lot of fun characters there, some of which I've made, some of which I've left a little bit dubious in case other people want to add things. And ultimately, the biggest question is where did this land on the technology scale, which is, I'm sure, something we're going to discuss.
Sweet, fabulous. I suppose I'll go next, and well, I've got one. I technically have two places that I designed, but I can't give you the second one because that's going to be a lore secret for later. But for now, and yeah, there we go. Put that right in the center of the screen. We have the flying city of Ankavi. Unlike the Essequiba, Ankavi is a natural, I guess you would call it a geological formation, but it's suspended thousands of feet up in the air. You'll notice that the main attraction to see on Ankavi is the giant Colosseum in the center island. Now, as far as population is concerned, Ankavi is mainly made up of people who are say, criminals or exiles, and they're basically just sent up here to fight in an arena for the amusement of other people. The tents, the little yellow tents that you see on the outer islands, are the majority of the populace and where they live. The little gray buildings are slightly nicer abodes. But anybody can join, doesn't matter if you're a criminal or if you're good or if you're bad or whatever. You can always go to the Colosseum to make a little bit of money or to just fight for entertainment, as a lot of people do. And that's the gist of Ankavi. Yeah. I guess, True, you have our secret person's lore for down here, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Let me pull that up. I have mine pulled up, so let me pull up theirs as
All right, I
well.
was going to ask if that was the end of the sentence.
I do. It is
You
a
will not be
secret.
hearing it.
2 lore secret locations.
Ooh, Laura secret
Wow.
location.
How do you get to have 2 secret lore locations?
Month.
It was actually in the DLC. Sorry, none of you have access.
Ah,
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to like blot out these parts of the map actually until the viewer pays $40.
Yeah, we got paywall that.
yeah.
They hate nothing for
DLC?
free.
Paywalling a live stream TTRPG would be the wildest thing. If this happens within the next 3 years, we're taking credit for it.
Absolutely.
You're
We're
right.
gonna be
That's
suing
some-
everybody.
That's some like Hoyoverse
yeah.
level read.
Hold on.
Once True goes over those 2 locations, then we'll get to Phoebe and where this campaign will be starting.
All right.
We have a couple other ones
Big
before
retcon.
that.
I've
Oh,
come up
did we?
with a difficulty. How do we pronounce this one?
Uh,
She just gave me the name. I can't.
Oh,
what?
oh no.
Any idea?
Hold on. Let me see if I can lock in. I
where
think
did
I
you-
can.
Where did you
It's
type
in
the
the
name?
general chat.
Oh, it's
The
in the
stream
general.
campaign
Yeah.
chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You know what, Bergs? Our secret player may have
Wait.
got it a little bit spicy with this name.
Is it just
okay.
is it just
Called-
a hard Q?
I think it is. I think it's a hard Q. I think it's Kalb al Sahara. Or al Sahra.
Kaba Sahara sounds right. Like
That
that
sounds
does
right.
sound correct. I had to like visualize it in my head before I could see it.
That's what I could only assume.
What's that thing that they say in the Dune movies? What's the it I don't remember
I'm gonna be
the
so real with you, Chief. Never watched a Dune movie. I've never
Yeah,
read
no,
the
me
book.
neither.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, so none of us watched the
So it's
Dune
just a
movie.
bad reference. That was just a
Yeah, that was a
So
bad
we-
yeah.
We collectively, so far, we hate Hoyoverse and Dunes. That's 2 sponsors gone.
Well, where was
Yep.
where was Hoyoverse?
We-
No, Roger plugged that so like it wasn't even subtle. He just did it so quickly that like no one noticed.
No, I noticed it. I was also gonna make a comment about the sponsors.
So I know the general gist of it. It's going to be really hard to summarize it. So I'm just going to go over what I think might be, good to go over.
Sure.
But there's quite a bit.
Well, this is just the
So-
elevator pitches. There's a lot more, I'm sure, to each of these areas that we can kind of get into.
So the region itself is named Varaka, and the capital of Varaka is Kalba Sahara. And it is a very beautiful and colorful city with very bright mosaics and various elaborate fountain arrangements. One of the largest cities within the region, home to the palace of the Three Queens. However, the name of that structure itself is a little misleading, as the Palace of the Three Queens is actually a giant structure that connects the Three Queens' actual 3 palaces, and within that holds an entry hall, ballroom, and an art gallery.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not only do they live in luxury, they live in, if I would assume, probably just 4 times the luxury of an actual like kingdom, because they have 4 palaces in total.
Huh.
Okay.
That's just me. That's just not on the notes.
Oh, peak. Let's go.
Okay, yeah, that's how that goes.
Because it's just like palace, 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 and the connecting palace. So it's 4 palaces.
Oh, so one's a big hallway.
Yeah, they would see it as a big hallway. We see it as
Iconic.
housing.
Very.
But yeah, we're just gonna go over the little brief history of that location. And when the outsiders first reached Fang Ridge to Varaka, they struggled within the region of the terrain as due to the harsh temperatures and weather. The Ninth Marine were the ones to help them adjust and navigate through the territory. Whenever summer comes, many of the civilizations were nearly wiped out. However, one of the leaders of the outsiders that came to the territory found a tunnel that led deep into the earth, and there they encountered a group of Nala Namla, and she began a peaceful dialogue with them. However, another one of the groups of the outsiders saw them as a threat, in which a lot of disputes happened, and after a bit of the dispute, there came to be a discussion between all the groups, and no one knows what was discussed, but the result was that the Nala Namla allowed servicers to shelter underground in the summer months.
Oh,
All
Peak.
right.
alrighty. Fire
And
writing.
now your actual region, true?
Yeah. For this one, you can just see physically what it looks like, but to explain a little bit about this region itself, I'm going to go into a folk tale. A time long ago, no longer written in history, lived a powerful sorcerer, Sabir, one who had ultimate mastery of ice magic. And not a time too late, as while Sabir was learning mastery of his ice magic, off the coast of Lanche was a giant collection of fire that was able to form itself into the shape of a bird, a great flame that rivaled even the sun. Sabir, being the only one that has mastered ultimate ice magic, knew that this path would eventually lead him to his destiny, and one that he must fulfill. The battle between the Beast of Flame and Sabir lasted hours. A word of it from those that watched saw it as a beautiful dance of magic, something akin to fireworks. But each cell of their body knew if they were brushed by an attack by either of them, they would instantly die. The long fight ended with Sabir's victory, but what no one knew was that the Beast of Flame awakened from death and grew more powerful than before. Sabir, knowing that he had no power left to fight, made use of his origin magic, a magic that he specifically made after gaining total mastery of ice. A spell called Absolute Zero. With this, at the cost of his life, he could seal away the beast, now named under the moniker of a phoenix, sunk to the bottom of the sea. However, months passed by, and people's sea voyages ended up late due to a reddish tint landmass that supposedly grew out from the water. That was the Sanguine Isles, the isles that was made from the blood of the phoenix. While the phoenix is still very dormant in Absolute Zero, it is in constant conflict with the spell, and due to its nature, it fights, it dies, and it is born anew. And it becomes stronger than ever before, with each cycle lasting longer and longer than the last. However, all ending with the phoenix going back to its long slumber. However strong it may be, we are unsure of how strong it can become over the next few thousand years.
Wow. Peak.
That's
You know, I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know if that's worse or better than what I thought it was.
You know, when I heard Island Made of Blood, I was like, well,
Yeah,
and
Island
now
Made
here
of
we
Blood,
are.
rough lead. I don't know if that makes it better.
I think it's slightly better than what I was imagining it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a lot more like a giant war happened and then everybody's blood just coagulated into a giant island landmass.
The island
It's
that
all one
hates-
blood type.
Yeah.
Wow, that is true. I wonder what kind of blood
Why?
type a bird
Why?
has.
But that's not how.
What?
Huh?
Are you telling me that birds don't have blood types?
I'm sure they have blood types, but I don't
They got
know if
bird types.
That's crazy.
I.
You
We
thought
can't
about
do
it.
it.
Immunity.
Yeah, we can't do it.
Yeah.
We can't do it in here.
This is the. I know. I can't let my current immunity from being removed from a call go to my head. The power. It's my fingertips.
But Yeah.
Sweet.
What do we want to do? Do we want to divulge a
well-
little bit more into lore, or do we want to go into characters?
Well, we do
Uh,
got
Well,
people
last
free.
but not least is
Well,
We
hold
do
on.
still have him.
Oh, it's Phoebe's, right? Sorry.
Right.
This is correct.
Before PBs though, just real quick, I want to talk about the big red mass that
the
is not
elephant?
Yes.
yeah, the big red wall slash dam that's in the well, it's not in the center, but it's pretty damn near the center of the central continent. And that is essentially the home of the Crimson Breach. Now, we've talked a little bit before of all of the different guilds that came here to the Fang Ridge and made their homes. The Fang Ridge is, of course, home now to the Crimson Breach, a very prolific monster hunting guild, with this giant dam being built just after the first guilds landed on the Fang Ridge, essentially just to hold out all the more nefarious creatures, the more violent and catastrophic monsters that come out of that giant hole that leads down to the center of the earth. As far as people could tell, not very many people have gone down, and if they have, they certainly have not come up in the last, what's it been, 10,000 years? Yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, that's essentially all I wanted to say about that. More lore to come on that later. But for now, we have the lovely Miss Phoebe's island right here.
Yes. Green landscape you see before you. Its name is Mooville. Well, the way I
That's
best describe it.
incredible.
Yes, yes. The way I'd best describe Mooville is that it is former prime real estate, current fixer upper. About 300 or so years ago, it was a land of chivalry and knights and honor and all that jazz. Very standard kingdoms type setting. But somewhere along the line, those who ruled over the lands got a little bit less responsible, maybe a little more selfish, and that trend just kept continuing over the next 3 generations of rulers until we reach today, where almost all the resources from this Greenland are being siphoned by its current queens, wasted on gigantic parties, and the military force, which was once very mighty, although very low on magic, still quite strong in their sheer physical might, is now reduced to a band of glorified. And that's where our characters start.
Let's go.
Ooh,
all right.
I love monarchy.
Uh,
Monarchy rules.
So yes, so great question. Is there any? So like Rafa said, is there any one of these areas that we feel like we need to discuss further?
Well, let's see. I mean, I feel like probably the best place to discuss further is probably where we're going to spend the majority of our time, which is good old
The Blood
Good old
Island.
Yeah. Tricked ya. We go into the Blood Isles. We stay in there.
We
All
live
my
in the
homies-
blood. I want the blood.
All my homies love being on the Immortal Phoenix.
I will say, whoever decided to build a city on the continually reviving Phoenix, kind of insane.
They were
Kind of an
based.
insane play. Yes, very base.
Well,
Kind of an insane
there's
play.
more to it. There's more to it. There's a reason why people would want to live there.
I'm sure, but I don't care how good the benefits are.
Be
That's
it
constantly
either the like wealth they could gain from being on the island, or like the absolute trust they have in Absolute Zero.
You know what? You know what? People live in like Florida during hurricane season, so I guess it makes sense.
I guess they don't have any like state tax here.
You mean lullaby season?
I mean, as long as Absolute Zero isn't like the magical equivalent of like Gojo's impenetrable barrier.
Oh, okay. Well,
Then we're good, right? We're good.
Well,
You have somehow dropped references from 3 IPs in the past 30 minutes.
I mean, I know nothing of media. I know no media.
But yeah, Phoebe,
Yes.
why don't you continue? Give a little bit more about possibly the capital and whatever happens in Newville.
Yes. So the capital, as you might assume, is that nice little castle right there with all the farmland surrounding it. And now that this place doesn't really do knights anymore, don't have much of a military force. Their whole thing is just throwing elaborate parties. These two really rotten queens waste all day planning elaborate galas, dances, all that kind of thing, just for themselves, more or less. The subjects who live inside the kingdom do not get to participate in these parties. The surrounding areas that are not part of the mainline kingdom, they are being constantly patrolled, and if they are deemed to have good resources on them, say like very fertile farm ground or like fresh jewels or what have you underneath the earth, they are immediately commandeered by a military troop, basically a bandit group, and all their stuff is constantly stolen from them until there's nothing left to steal. Over time, the farmland has gotten less and less fertile, almost as though the soul of the land itself has been dying with the kingdom. But really what's happening is that these fools don't know how to rotate their crops. So one good generation, maybe the land will come back to life. You never know. The place
Incredible.
where our characters live is not one such area where they have great farmland or great jewels underneath the ground. We live in a mud pile. Or, well, maybe not mud. It's more like a sandy area called Creek's Crook. It's right on the edge of a creek, although not close enough to actually make use of that waterfront farmland. That is another town.
I will say, how long do you think it's going to take for us to accidentally say Crooks Creek?
Let's say
I
like
give it a
minutes.
solid. Yeah, I was going to say I would give it a solid 20, maybe.
Yeah, I call it Creek's Crook because it's right on the crook of the creek.
Maybe it was some people call it Crooks Creek that used to live there, and they like changed the name because we lost access to the actual creek, so it's not our creek anymore.
Oh yeah.
So that way we can get around it if we mess it up.
So, one important detail of our town that I haven't mentioned yet is that because it's not like very valuable to them, there's no resources to extract to enrich their lavish lifestyles up there in the capital. This place has been left to the wolves, and the wolves in this case are a group of actual bandits, not state-sponsored bandits, just guys with swords and other weapons who run
privateers,
stuff now.
Pirates, important.
Oh, pirates. Okay, yes.
Well, no, yeah, never mind. Continue.
So, if we wanted to, Crooks Creek is a pretty accurate description of what the town has become, just completely overrun with criminals.
Great.
Any food or wealth that you're able to accumulate goes right to them.
Dang, I didn't even think about the crook part. My mind's so small.
It's okay, Roger.
I was thinking like I was thinking like, oh yeah, like like a crook of the woods, and I forgot that we have an entire bandit like thing happening here.
It's all right, Roger.
It's all right.
All right. I mean, sounds good to me. But the thing is, I do know that not all of our characters are actually starting at Creek's Crook.
Yeah.
I got it.
Also,
I got
they're
it.
interchangeable. There's the proper name and then the slang name that everybody actually uses.
I mean, that does make sense for it being like the slang name being Crooks Creek because the crooks took it over.
Yeah.
I love how we just like failure proofed our pronunciation of this name.
Truly.
We're so smart.
It's an option select.
We're the options. Me when I OS my name. That's what I do in my day-to-day life. That's how I parry it.
Yeah. All right. I mean,
should we go over characters? Is that the move here?
I think that might be the move.
I think that might be the move.
Yeah, I'll go over some deeper lore of like the general world setting Lego. I'll go into a big narration about it, but let's get into the interesting.
Before we broach characters, I do want to point out one other thing that we did not actually cover when initially talking about Fabula Ultima. So a funny little mechanic, because I'm assuming we're not explaining every mechanic of how the game works, but one that is very relevant here, is Fabula points. which are these funny little points. They allow you to do a lot of things. One of which is add new narrative elements. Now you cannot remove existing ones, but you can add new elements, such as a town that did not exist before, a person that did not exist before, that you now have always retroactively known. They're basically little ways for the players to introduce aspects into the world in real time during the game in order to actually augment the story. And this is a resource that we're going to be spending and getting constantly throughout the campaign. So all of these lore tidbits are going to more or less be in stone, but new stuff can get added at any point. So this is a constantly evolving world, and I thought that was important to add before we
that is important because we just like go through session and then I'm like, hey guys, can I use a Fabula point to make it canon that there's actually a rare type of plant that exists in this universe? And then everyone in the chat's like, wait, he can do that? Did the player just take the reins for a second?
It will happen constantly. But yes, now we can move on to characters. I just thought that was the best time to mention it.
Perfect. That's a good good thing. Well, should we go in the same order then? CC, you want to go first?
It was me going first.
As I say, not the same order, but sure.
What? I mean, like the order of introducing. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, it was Roger first.
No, it was actually me first.
I was gonna say, what do you think is like of the characters that we have? Who do you think's the best launching point to go off of? Because that'll probably make everything way easier. I think
Roger. My rotation is probably going to be Roger into Rafa and then to Cece and then to PB is my thing here probably.
Okay.
Fine by me.
All right, like crack my knuckles. Good thing I got
that way. That way we can start and end in the same region.
Oh, good idea.
Great. I'll go ahead and I guess get started. Do we have little visuals we can put up for them?
Yes, I can put those up right now.
Put them up one at a time, all fancy like.
Oh my God.
I'll see what I can do.
Wait. Suggestion?
Whoa. Yes.
What if we transform the character, like the characters talking, into the Fabula character? Thoughts?
That is a great question. The answer to that is because I don't know how to do that.
Man,
But I'll tell you what. We'll introduce the characters, and then at the end, I'll switch us over to the scene where it has all of our characters on it.
All right.
You know what? Fair.
All right. Shall I get started? We good?
Let's do it.
By all means.
All right, bet. All right. So, starting off here, I'm going to be playing Lowell Ranu. Lowell was born to his mother Aster Ranu and Nehan Ranu in Crooks Creek, or Creek's Crook. His mother was a floralist, and that is somebody who uses plants and usually uses them in a magical fashion. Or, you can just be an actual floralist, just somebody who takes care of plants and flowers. And his mother is actually from Lanche and met his father there during a flower festival. It was kind of a little like halfway between things going on from the plains. His father's from this village, and his father Nehan was a farmer that was kind of born and raised and then fell in love with Aster just on sight, and they got married within a year. They created nice medicines and floral gifts to the townsfolk, and they taught everything that Lowell did about plants, as Lowell, in terms of what he is mechanically, as I go to explain. All right, so we got our region over here. We got our beautiful green region that we're starting in. Both of his parents together collectively met over in good old Crooks Creek, and they started a life together. Now, Lowell, as a person, was always a very shy kid. He had a couple of friends, which are the other two characters that we have here, who are soon to be introduced, that both of them basically kept the bullies away and kind of allowed him to actually integrate better into meeting people within the small town of Crooks Creek, which I think I am just gonna keep calling it Crooks Creek instead of Creeks Crook. I'm so sorry, guys. It's really tragic out here.
Woo! Wasn't me.
But Lowell has a unfortunate event that had happened early on in his years. Around the time Lowell turned 9, on his birthday, a blood-red werewolf appeared in front of his door and took out his mother and father in a flash. But right as it looked like it was about to go after Lowell, it put its claws into him and said that he's grown very well, and then slunk back into the night. And then after that, the full moon rose, and Lowell began to find himself changing drastically as he started to transform into a werewolf. And thankfully, the town priest, a very old man, whom I have yet to name because I wanted to do that with you guys, the priest took in Lowell and taught everything that Lowell basically needed to know in order to prepare Lowell for the day where he has to be on his own, and essentially teach him how to go and manage his lycanthropy. And now, after the priest has long since passed, and the townspeople all have a lot of superstitions and things going on about thinking that he is a werewolf, he has essentially taken on the role as the gravekeeper of the town, and using his knowledge of flowers and flower magic, and also spiritist magic, which involves the soul, and chimerism, which involves animals, which he picked up a bit after the lycanthropy incident. He now essentially tends to the town's grave, planting little flowers and turning it more into like a meadow sort of style. Despite him doing this, he is not seen in the best of light by a lot of other townsfolk because they are skeptical of him being responsible for his parents being gone, which is very sad. That's my elevator version of trying to condense it down. So I've thought of a few different ones. I've thought about like maybe doing something a little bit more like this. Just he's very shy and typically doesn't talk that much. But still, it's like a little bit of a deeper voice because he is a giant 6 foot something man who's kind of huge. And maybe he talks a little bit more excited when there's like something he cares about. Or he growls a little bit more. I'm still trying to kind of figure out where I want this to land, but it's fun.
You know what? It's part of the trial and error that we don't figure out voices till the 3rd session.
Yeah. I did think for a long time, because I don't know what the general vibe is in terms of like where characters could come from. For a while, I almost wanted to. I was like, do I make him like lean country? Because that could be funny. that could be kind of funny if I like instead of going for more of something like this and being, I'd go for something more like this and be a silly little guy.
Good old country boy.
I just really like flowers, and I'm trying to be nice. I like flowers, having friends, and Fabula Ultima.
Right. My character is Edel of the Crimson Breach. He is a silly little hornkin, what is referred to here on the Fang Ridge. Well, other people might know it as a tiefling or a demon king. He's about 3'11", crimson in colors. He's got these big red horns because he's part of the Crimson Breach monster hunting guild. His essentially his backstory is that he was dropped off here as a very, very young baby, and the guild took him in, taught him to kill monsters, and that's basically the gist of it. He's kind of meandered his way around. Yeah, you'll know that very, very frequently he does not know where he is, and always carries around a map, and has happened to wander his way to Creek's Crook. Did I get that right?
You did?
Awesome.
Yes, congratulations.
Let's go. We should keep a score or
Alright,
something. But
Just like a hidden tracker.
We just
Oh,
make
yeah.
a secret like tracker where if you can say Creek's Crook instead of Crook's Creek
Other
10
way
times in a row,
Yeah, you're right.
in a session, like naturally, you just get a Fabula point.
See, that's what I was thinking. And just to switch into it just for a little bit.
It all sounds like this. An older gentleman, to be sure, but nonetheless very capable and adept.
Yay!
The
That's
animal
neat.
voice.
He's so silly sometimes.
The 11th hour old man.
I don't know. I think he's like the 12th hour. I think he does not arrive an hour before. I think he arrives there on time at best.
Yeah, he gets there on time. He's there exactly when you need him. Kind of like Gandalf.
He is
Goku.
Like Goku.
I'm gonna start keeping a reference tracker. We're gonna see what this gets up to. I think we're at 6.
Yeah.
Goku's not a reference to anything. He's just a core being of the universe.
I mean, he's definitely a core being in my home country of Mexico. That's for sure.
He was at the Macy's parade.
Yeah, he was at the Macy's parade. So based.
Is that the bar now?
The Macy's parade?
Yeah.
I would have. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, white
You
people
know
love
what?
Macy's
Sure.
parade. Anyway.
Moving on. So I believe I'm going next. So I will be playing Priscilla Graymore. She's a human woman, in her early 20s that basically was born to her parents, Calum and Primrose, within this town of Creek's Crook. Creek's Crook, right? Not Crook's Creek. That's gonna bother me.
That is correct.
Always gonna bother me. And ever since she was a child, she was adept at exactly 2 things: asking too many questions and learning new things based off those questions. She has a natural talent for the elements, and it is shown through her elementalist class, where she will be harnessing the full power of fire, ice, earth, lightning, and air. However, she did have a side interest, which was Magitech, which is our replacement for technology in the setting, and something we will have to discuss about how exactly it all works, because it heavily ties into the Essekiva. But ever since she was a kid, she would look up at the sky and see the sky ships from the Essekiva flying above, and was always wanting to be able to modify a skyship of her own and get her little mitts on it to see if she could figure out exactly how they worked and how she could make it even better. So, throughout the many years that she was stuck in Creek's Crook, she would scrounge up enough money in order to buy books and different little unique mechanical devices from any traveling merchants that managed to get here without getting robbed. And she would basically slowly self-teach herself. Slowly self-teach. Yes, I said that right.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly teach herself the ins and outs of basic Magitech and how exactly to use it in tandem with her magic. Eventually, she did not confront. She did ask Edel to give a letter of recommendation for her to get into the Essekiva and join the workforce there as an airship mechanic. During this time, she had grown up with both Lowell and Phoebe's character, which will be introduced in just a minute, as one of their childhood friends. But at the age of 16, she was ferried off to the Essekiva to go on and learn as much as she could about Magitech, magic, and how to interlace the two as best as she could. So she has been gone for the past roughly 6 years, and will be making her not so triumphant return in session 1. But there are 2 very important things about Priscilla that she will be coming back with. The first is a hammer of her custom make that she uses whenever things need a little bit more of a blunt force application to be solved instead of some roundabout thinking. And I haven't actually decided the name of it yet, so we're going to need to figure out the name for that. And a bit of a junker skyship that she legally commandeered from the Essekiva that she was personally working on to get to Creek's Crook as fast as possible, which we are also going to be determining the name of, presumably in Session 0. And so Priscilla will be making her return to Creek's Crook in Session 1, 6 years the wiser, and with a bunch of new fancy toys.
Yippee!
Peak.
Yes. And oh, Lord Facila's voice. All right, let me give you one moment to try and get this in. All right, so we're going to be going for something like this. Something really high energy, something really quick, a little bit higher pitched because I can't do a female voice to save my absolute life. And we're going to be going in with this amount of energy all the time. Will this destroy my throat? Definitely. Will it be funny? Very much so. And we're going to see exactly how many of her inventions blow up.
Is it time for my character now?
Yes.
Easter.
Alrighty. PB character time. So my character, her name is Pebble Tark. She also grew up in Creek's Crook. Her family, her mother's name is Marl Tark. She's an only child. They grew up in extreme poverty. Most of the houses in Creek's Crook are looking a little more worse for wear, whether they're rundown cabins or whether they live in the church or what have you. Pebble's family lived in a tent, and they relied heavily on the church where Lowell works for food and shelter when there were bad storms. So they're somewhat close, I imagine. We can do that later.
They be
But
besties.
Maybe besties. But her role in the party is that of a ranged DPS. She is adept with a blade, a knife. It's a bit of a special little knife. Which should we go into the special weapon?
I think that's going to be purely up to you.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
golly. So she has a special knife. It's green, very green, which also she occasionally attaches to a stick to turn into a spear, just for utility's sake, nice to have a spear. And this blade of hers, it has the special ability to summon more blades, so she can more or less just materialize like ethereal blades out of the air to slice her enemies and effectively just deal ranged attacks with a blade. She obtained this through not so savory means. I will go into that later on, but yeah, she is only just now coming back to Creek's Crook. Maybe we could have like Priscilla and Pebble arrive at the same time, like bump into each other on the way back. Because she was in the military, the Mouville military, which, as you may recall, is just a gang of a gang of thugs, like a bunch of real not so great guys. And the reason she enlisted into this military is because she got into some hot water trying to deal with a bandit that was being not so great in her town. And the heat got too much, so she dipped. Okay, one of the unique features, the only upsides of living in this place is if you enlist, you get a little bit of money. You get a good bit of money actually if you live in Creek's Crook. So she used that enlistment fund to get her mom the heck out of Dodge, and I haven't decided where to send her yet exactly. But for 2 years, Pebble trained in the Mouville military, quote unquote trained. She learned to survive out in these harsh lands. And after 2 years was up, they let me backtrack here. One feature of the Mouville military is that they don't really have a uniform or standardized gear. They just pick and choose whatever they can find. They'll walk around the borders of the land and try to steal whatever regional gear they can find from the other places, whatever washed up on shore from Blood Island or the Sanguine Isles. So they have a very mishmash looking military, and
I think this is
No
going to be the only
worries.
session where we get mixed up.
yeah. Well, the long and short of it is 2 years into her enlistment, her troop came upon this magic green blade, and she swiped that thing and has found her way back now that she thinks she's strong enough to take on the bandit guild or the bandits that are running town with this magic blade. I don't have a voice for her yet.
Genuinely, you
So-
don't need one, but
Yeah.
I'm going to start with like pitched up, like up here, and I want to bring it down to more of like a vocal fry.
But I don't know how to do that yet, so I'll have to practice.
Faux show.
Can you do New York?
New York.
I can't. I don't want to like make enemies with whoever might be from New York and watching this. They will like pull me through my goddamn webcam and beat the shit out of me. So I don't want that.
Hey, I'm streaming here.
Hey, I'm streaming
I'm
here.
streaming here.
I'm just gonna probably practice trying to sing Country Road in a fucking in a fake deep werewolf voice.
That's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. I think I'll switch us over and we'll see. We'll see if this works. Do I have anything?
Oh, wait, before we do that,
Yeah.
we do. I will introduce the auxiliary character.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever we need a replacement. So the auxiliary character is Mina, a traveling merchant. She's relaxed, very approachable, very for customer service. Whenever she opens up her shop, she has a lot of just fun little knickknacks and always has something new in store. If you've ever visited her shop previously,
Ooh.
she will show up around the party whenever one of the original cast has to go away for that session. She'll pop in and she'll help out the party however she can. Her class lineup is Merchant, Orator, and Chanter. And her Chanter magic is going to be conducted through her Ocarina and a Magic Serpent.
Oh. Well, since our mystery player isn't here, I guess you're in charge of assigning the voice that she'll have to do.
Well, I guess Madison's gonna have to have a Russian accent now.
Wow. I thought she wasn't
Acting like she's not.
Yeah, I don't know. Guys.
Yeah, we'll get to more detail
We'll
about
work.
her whenever the subject approaches. Whenever we need her
Very
to
nice.
replace one of us.
That would be so messed up if we did actually just like Madison. They come back and we're just
Madison has approved the Russian accent.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I was
Just be the
joking.
decider.
I was joking. We can figure it out based off the regions and whatnot.
Yeah. So we're good to continue now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope I've...
From here, do we want to go over basic roles that we're filling?
We can do that once we get to the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Yeah, here we are.
Right, hello, this is me. I am Edel of the Crimson Breach.
And I'm Priscilla of nothing in particular.
Did I go? Okay. And I'm Lowell of Crook's Creek. I mean Creek's Crook. It should probably be Creek's Crook.
And I am Pebble Tart of Schitt's Creek.
Quite so. Right. Let me get a picture of the map here, just to have a interesting visual in the background.
Do we just try to use this as a time for us to all sit here and try to talk in character until something sticks?
Well, I think that might be the case, because this is how you see, Sir Lowell, how we develop character dynamics before we've even begun to play.
Okay, that makes sense.
I guess that's how it's working.
That does make sense.
I was not mentally prepared for this.
I don't think anyone was.
I'm just rolling with it.
You know, I think with the visual, it definitely is helping me attempt to get in character.
As the visual fades.
Oh, well, I think the visual is still up.
The visual is being commented by me.
Actually, Priscilla, I believe that the visual is still up. Do I suddenly give myself a country voice, by the way? Do I just start running with this? I totally could. I totally could stay like this for a very long time.
Well, my question would be there, if Lady Madison is going to be doing a Russian accent, it will depend on where she's from, and that is where the Russian accent people will be. And if you're going to do a country accent, that means that the people from the tundral area of Lange are all going to be cowboys.
That would be incredibly funny. I mean, they are up in the mountains. it could be less Southern country and more I don't know, Appalachia.
All right.
But yeah, but no, I feel like oh man, but if I'm the problems that I'm running into is that if I decide to go and make Aurora have a, you know, a proper accent that's themed there, that's like, what it's based off of linguistically, since I used so many different words in French and Basque, I'ma have to lock in. and I don't know if I can do all that, to be quite frank with you all.
If we're forcing Madison to do a Russian accent, I think you can do it.
We don't have to I said it as a joke. Madison ain't gotta do all that.
I do not think that she's doing the Russian accent. Sorry to burst your bubble.
Damn.
It's alright. The bubble has not been bursted.
Darn.
Yeah, because if they're from the desert region and everybody there speaking Russian, while that would be subversive and funny, it would. Oh golly, oh golly, jeez.
Well, now that we've gotten everything up in terms of our actual characters, and since we're talking in the voices, do we want to go ahead and maybe go over what roles we're going to be filling during the campaign and roughly what we're supposed to do?
Quite so, quite so. I do believe I accidentally missed over what classes I was going to be playing. But I will be playing a pilot, guardian, and a dark blade as my essential 3. I will be a tank role.
Do you want to maybe explain what each of those classes do?
Yes. Good idea. A pilot, you get a car and you whip it like crazy. And a guardian, you guard your teammates as any good tank would do. And a dark blade, you harness the power of darkness to do an assortment of great things. Either learn from your opponent's attacks or deal a great deal of damage through the whims of the arcane.
So there we have our tank. Does maybe our healer want to go next?
Oh golly, okay. My 3 classes are Spiritist, Chimerist, and Floralist, because flowers and that whole thing. Main things that I do is Spiritist is your insert copyright name healer that sometimes wears a lot of white. That typically is very much based around the soul as
I'm counting that as a reference.
Oh dang it. Oh darn it. It would be a lot of soul magic, a lot of using emotions and things to kind of go and help people. Floralist is me using plants and growing these different things, and yeah, I'll be doing that to try to help people out so they don't die horribly or anything like that. And then the last one is chimerism, which Lowell would know and be kind of concerned that he knows. Essentially, chimerism is kind of like what's the best way I could call it? It's like druidic. It's like druidic magic in that sort of way, where it's more coming straight from nature, from the tap, from the spigot. And Lowell is connected to it because he is a werewolf, and inherently he can actually harness the power of monsters and whatnot to go and get spells. And I'm gonna have to get those and hope that they're helpful.
Pebble, do you want to go, or should I go next?
You go. Go right ahead.
All right. So I am going to be taking a role as both a DPS and a bit of a support. So I'm going to be focusing on hitting hard, and when I'm not hitting something really hard, making the others hit harder. So that is going to come out in 2 different ways. So first things first, I am a tinkerer. So what tinkerers do is they take all of that fancy little technology, whether that be potions, magitech, or, something else. Then I basically use that to do a lot of different things. The way this is going to come out, particularly for me, is in these funky little things called magispheres, which are little contraptions that I myself have put together. Don't worry, they have a 99% chance of success. That I get to twist a little ball in my hands, I get to throw it, and then hopefully something good happens. And by getting a bunch of those, I'll be able to widen my arsenal and actually allow myself not only to hurt the people trying to hurt us, but make sure that everyone else around me is nice and steady. On top of that, I am an elementalist, meaning that I have the power to harness the elements: fire, ice, earth, wind, and electricity. And I use that to basically blast things away or modify my own magitech if some elemental push is needed. This all comes together in me using my massive hammer, which I haven't exactly figured out the name of yet. I was thinking of naming it Critical Engine Failure, but we're going to see. And so I have a hammer bigger than I am that I lift through the power of Skystone, which is a funny thing that if we talk more about the Essekiva, we can figure out. Maybe that'll be touched on in the campaign. Who knows? But I use that to swing a hammer easily 3 times my weight in order to blast people off into the stratosphere and follow it up with a nice flurry of elemental magic. My third class to start out with is going to be Weapon Master, meaning that I get to hit things even better. That's more or less all that class does. And later on, I'll be getting even more gimmicks. But as time goes on, I'll just have more and more options. I'll make more and more very funny things that may or may not blow up in our face. And I'll be able to harness both magic and technology to the most of their capabilities.
Quite well. I do like Critical Engine Failure for your hammer. It could be CEF for short.
Could be Seth for short.
Zeph is a pretty good name.
I do like
that's a pretty good name.
Short.
Out of curiosity, should we go over our quirks? Or at the very least, should I go over my quirk? Because
We'll ring around the rosy again with the quirks. Let's allow Pebble to explain her role.
No.
Indeed. As I stated earlier in my character introduction, I am a ranged DPS despite my use of a dagger. The dagger is more of a, how should I say, a showpiece or a catalyst for the rest of the interesting magic. I summon blades that dance around and hit people from afar, and therefore it's counted as ranged damage. And to support that, my first class is Sharpshooter, which more or less boosts my accuracy and damage with ranged attacks. I also have Rogue, which will allow me to get more out of my Dex die, which I will be heavily dumping points into. And allows me to do some interesting little thievery here and there. And for my final class, I have chosen Commander, which allows me to do some interesting turn manipulation and general bending of the game rules.
Quite
So-
well. Right. So, in Fabula Ultima, we are allowed one of either two things: a quirk, or what was the other one? What was the other? I don't remember the other. Where am I?
You might be talking about a 0 power?
Yes, there's 0 power. That's right. Occasionally you may have both, but I think for this session, or for this campaign, we are running with quirks, which are unique little abilities, unique to each character, I suppose. I actually have not yet decided mine. So, onwards, onwards and forthwith.
Lowell, why don't we start with yours?
All right. Well, I guess mine is pretty straightforward. So my quirk is that Lowell is a werewolf. And the werewolf quirk gives me the ability to deal extra damage using unarmed swings, and they become purely based off of might. Lowell has a lot of things based off of might. And as long as I have my unarmed equipment set up, I gain bonuses to my defensive stats. And I'm generally just a bit harder to hit. Unfortunately, since I am a werewolf, there's 2 downsides that come with this. I am vulnerable to damage that is effective against werewolves and other lycanthropes. And on full moons, I will transform. And there will be a special little thing that'll happen that'll be a problem if it is not dealt with. Fun details involving Lowell, because of this, is that, well, he has a a bunch of piercings. He has a lot of piercings all over his face. He has 2 on his lower jaw. He has a couple on his nose. He has some on his ears, though you may not see it, but they are there. I'm not gonna have. I'm not gonna have Rafa just start.
I'm already on it as we speak.
But the big thing is that Lowell has piercings that are made out of silver, so that way it can dull his senses and make it so that way he doesn't get bothered by stuff like blood and everything. Because he is a very responsible person and he doesn't want to hurt anybody because he's a real big softie, and that's about it. And, well, oh yeah, right, the big thing that Lowell carries around all the time. Lowell carries a massive coffin on his back, and that is where he's going to be storing all of his various plants, items, snacks, basically everything. And Lowell will also be storing himself into that coffin whenever there's a full moon, because he really wants to make sure that nothing bad happens to him or his friends. And normally that's a strategy for how he's been going through the village for so long as a werewolf, is he kind of just puts himself into a box and calls it a day.
That's excellent. Miss Priscilla?
All right. So basically, what my quirk is something that benefits more or less the entire group rather than just myself, sadly. And I have something called Old Transport. So this is what Priscilla has been working on for the past 6 years, and it is a bunk older model skyship that the Essequiva basically retired, and Priscilla got special permission after pulling a few strings, proving her worth, that she was able to actually take it as a pet project. Is this thing skyworthy? Legally, yes. Spiritually, not at all. But she keeps it in the air. And essentially, what this is that means we have a personal skyship that we can use for travel purposes. It is big enough to fit the 4 of us, as well as 2 guests. And it comes with the funny little thing that every 4 hours of play, or about 1 session, True over there, or the GM, basically can go, actually, the transport explodes, and cause some sort of catastrophic failure in it. Now, it cannot be completely destroyed without my express permission, but it can be broken and require some repairs, which could take a session, it could take 5 minutes and a little bit of zeniths, or what are we calling the money in the setting?
I think we're just keeping it to Zenith.
Yeah.
We're just keeping it to it? I don't know. 1,500 unknown currency.
Money.
And we'll see. But every time that True decides to break it, I get 2 Fabula points, which is quite a bit. So, now that we've actually discussed it, what do we want to name our skyship?
That is a good question. Would you like to keep the naming convention of critical engine failure?
We could call it the Creek Copter.
Most
The
interesting.
what copter?
The Creek Copter.
Oh. I was going to say we could call it the Fang Philosopher.
Yes, I do believe flossing is all the rage with the kids nowadays.
Pebble, remember when we used to hit that flaw?
Well,
and the priest got so mad.
yes, we do need to figure out the name of the priest. But yes, for the skyship name, I did not have anything particular in mind. I know that we briefly discussed that Priscilla would have named it something after something the group was involved in. Something that they all said that they wanted to do one day, once they finally got out of Creek's Crook. And she's going to basically be showing it to them as a, hey, look, I finally found it. So if we want to do something a little more sentimental, we can. If we want to just do the Creek Copter, we can do the Creek Copter. It's a funny name. It has alliteration. I love alliteration.
Perhaps the creaky copter.
The creaky copter.
You know, now that I say it out loud, perhaps it is not as good as just the creek copter. Yeah.
I'm really gonna name this thing the
Creedcopter.
Creedcopter. I'm really gonna name this thing the Creedcopter. All right.
There's some much more time. We don't have to name it the Creedcopter if that's not what you're going for.
No, Creedcopter works. I'm adding that in. All right. For now, it's the Creedcopter. That may change by session 1. We'll figure it out really quickly if it changes by session 1. For now,
Be a
we'll
section
go with Creedcopter.
0.5 patch.
Yes, 0.5 patch. But yeah, that is my entire zero quirk. Zero quirk. That is my entire quirk. I get no direct benefits, but no direct negatives. And we have a skyship. All right, Pebble.
My turn. So, my quirk does not benefit any of you whatsoever. It is entirely selfish. I have a quirk called Ancient Weapon, which you'll be able to assume what the weapon is, as it's between my hands right now. More or less, what it means is that my little dagger here is worth 1,200 unspecified monies. It is a rare custom weapon, and once per session, our game master can choose to make some unintended consequence of having a extremely valuable rare weapon in our party, such as bandits trying to steal it, or some strange monster attracted to its magical signature, something of that sort. And I'll get a Fabula point. Also, it can't be destroyed, lost, etc., without my permission.
Oh, quite good.
Well, so we've gone over basic regions. We've gone over characters, personalities, backstories, and builds.
There are some things that we haven't fully discussed involving character backstories. We haven't talked too much about how the characters know each other.
Fair point. We should probably figure that out.
I was running with the easy answer being, since all of our characters are around the same age, right? Are like 20,
22 over here.
22. All right, we're all
Also
22.
22.
I'm
all right, yay.
89.
Yeah.
Me
Edel, how
too.
old are you?
Edel's like 22 times 4.
+1.
But no, you're actually
22.
that close.
You're 89?
Yes. I get a +1 modifier to my age.
That's actually part of your quirk.
Quite
You're
so.
gonna crumble into dust.
That's the idea.
What I was thinking about is that since we all did grow up in the village around the same time, Lowell was he wasn't sheltered, he just was afraid to leave his house for a really long time. And so we could, because I did discuss that as a kid, he would have been very easy to pick on, unfortunately. He was just one of those IKEA bears that kind of just was like standing in a field, and he used to talk to animals and like bugs and stuff. So he's shy, he's awkward, he talks to bugs and probably picked up bugs as a kid, and had too much kindness in his heart. So naturally, with how children are cruel in nature, he had to have been bullied by other kids.
Oh, Lowell, he's different.
Yup.
So I do have a very important clarification question. How many people live in Creekscrook?
That's a good
Oh, goodness.
question.
I haven't thought of that.
Because I'm thinking like single schoolhouse with like
You're thinking right.
Yep.
with like 15 kids in it. Like, you know those schoolhouses in like all those old westerns?
Yes, I was exactly
Yes,
thinking that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like the windows like are kind of drafty. There's like 15 kids and desks. Most of them have a book propping up one side, and then there's a teacher that really is overqualified for the position, but they're trapped. It's basically a Hallmark movie old like schoolhouse.
I'm thinking a population of no more than 100 people.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. I mean, 100 people. It's like big enough that, it's still a village, but small enough that like if anybody were to die in the village, everyone knows what happened, how did it happen. They know this person, that person, they know their person's person. Like,
All right, secondary thing. So that means that between us and our direct families, we make up 1/10 of the village. We're all okay with that, right?
yep.
That's fine. That means
I'm
that
I'm not from
I may
this
have.
village.
Do we?
Yeah,
Do we?
how long ago did Edel arrive again? I forget.
I am going to say that maybe a few. Wait, how long has the occupation been at the village?
I
Probably a
think.
decade or so.
All right, he
Oh,
made
that
it
long?
there
I
maybe
see.
about a week and a half ago.
Okay,
I'm.
then I'm gonna have
I
to adjust
was.
my backstory then.
I was just about to say.
We
I
could
didn't know.
alter it. It's not set in stone at all.
That's fair. Because I didn't know if we were doing like a while ago or if it was like, 4 years ago. If it was like 4 years ago, then that means that both Priscilla and Pebble could have both left the village, and then they wouldn't know that it's under occupation.
Oh,
Which
Pebbles and I may have glossed over this during my my stumbly character introduction, but Pebbles' inciting incident for leaving the town in the first place was murdering a bandit in cold blood.
oh,
Oh, so
I
she's
do feel like
based.
that's important context.
that's a good bit of detail. Um,
And I did put that Priscilla did get a letter of recommendation from Edel to get into the Essekiva. So
That
there
would
are
not.
two things we need to iron out here.
Well, how long ago
Things are
did she make
fluid.
it to
It's
the?
okay.
Yeah, how long ago did she make it to the Essekiva?
6 years.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Any period of time prior to this, it makes no difference. It makes no difference when she got her letter of recommendation. I assure you that right now.
Perhaps we could retune this as the priest is also the overqualified teacher, and he gave you the letter of recommendation.
he's just really old.
We could
What?
do that.
I didn't
How?
have it so that he died when around the same time that you guys left. So that which I just had that idea because I think that the idea of Lowell being basically left alone without his one family support system and his two closest friends it would make sense for uh him just going through it.
I'm still a little unclear on who. Would Priscilla prefer Edel to have not gone to the village that soon, or what was the hindrance there?
Well, you said a week and a half, right?
Yes, I wandered here a week and a half ago.
So Edel wouldn't have been there.
For what?
You know what you
For
could
the
do? I just realized.
And pal.
Yeah, you could maybe the priest was an old member of your team. And so you heard that, he passed, and so you went on this journey to go and find him. It took you 4 years to find the place.
I mean, just to be clear, I did not come here with any form of intention whatsoever. I don't know where I'm going, and I just made it here.
Oh, well.
Well, yes, but I'm saying that Priscilla left the Essekiva 6 years ago, and for her to get a letter of recommendation from Edel, she would have had to known Edel 6 years ago. And if you
That's
just got here a
perfectly.
week and a half ago,
But has Priscilla then never ventured outside the world? Or outside the
have any
town?
of us?
What?
Have any of us? I'm not
See,
gonna
it's more
lie.
difficult. Oh, you go.
Oh,
Well,
sorry. We're all talking over each other. All right, I'll say this first, then Rafa, then Phoebe. So, I was under the assumption that we were all small town to the level where we were born here, raised here, and we kind of thought we would die here without really seeing much else. So, like, the leaving for the military and leaving for the Essekiva was kind of like a more of an anomaly in that most people that live there just kind of end up being there for their entire lives. That was the assumption that I was operating under. If I'm wrong,
That
I'm
was
wrong.
Also, the assumption I was operating under.
Oh, okay. Well, that can still work. We can say that Edel was just passing through on one of his various missions with the Crimson Breach and met Priscilla there.
That
6
also
years
works
ago.
in that case.
Yeah.
In that case, Priscilla could have met Edel, bothered him immensely about his travels and whether or not he's seen any Magitech or ever flown on a skyship. Got the letter from him. He left, and there'll be an unlikely meeting back in session 1.
Quite so.
That's a sweet backstory. I like it.
That solves my problem. Second problem: how long have the bandits been here?
They can be here for as long as you want them to have been here. Would Priscilla want to have been aware of them before she left, or would you rather them have arrived in Priscilla's absence?
I am perfectly impartial.
I feel like if it's in Priscilla's absence, it definitely gives an easy reason as to why she's like, wait, what? And then just comes back.
That is a good point. What better reason to go home than it being taken over?
All right. Well, I think that pretty much does it.
All right, so True. Give us a number.
3
Months or years?
years.
I like
There
that.
we go.
I like that.
3 years. So that means.
They arrived 1 year before Pebble left.
Oh, yeah, because you're in the military for 2 years, right?
Yes.
So Lowell would have started having his whole werewolf problem around when he was like 9 years old, roughly. So I think a good question is with the Priscilla and Pebble both knowing Lowell, would they have stayed friends with Lowell after he started having these traits get shown?
Absolutely. Pebble is an only child and scrawny and lonely. She wouldn't abandon a friend.
I feel like
Priscilla?
I was gonna say I feel like if anything, Pebble seems the type of person that would probably actually scrap for Lowell. Like
She loses all the
despite-
fights, but she scraps nonetheless.
Yeah. Lowell is not as helpful as he should be in a fight because he's afraid of hurting people, so he doesn't.
I will say Priscilla probably would have still been friends with him. If nothing else, just to basically sit with Pebble and Lowell and look at skyships and explain how they were going to go and see the world from above. And that Creek's Crook was going to be looking a lot smaller than the already very small place it was when we're seeing it from the air. Priscilla got that wanderlust from a very young age.
It's like being in like the Midwest and you see an airplane.
So, just to clarify, the three of us all grew up together, went to the same school, were unlikely friends because Priscilla had her heads in the clouds all the time, Lowell was getting bullied for being a werewolf, and Pebble was ready to scrap for the big bad Lowell the entire time. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
With the core thing being that he got bullied in a very like, oh, whatever sort of way, before he was 9, and then he went to the same elementary school with everybody. After the stuff happened with his parents, it escalated. It went from like the kids poking fun at him to like the kids trying to fight him, and probably some of the adults in the village treating him pretty bad. Because, I mean, there's no one else at the scene of the crime, essentially, than Lowell. So it's not going to go very well in that regard.
All right. Good to know. Good to know. And then Edel's an adventurer that came through a few times. Priscilla bothered him enough to get a letter of recommendation, and he's going to be showing back up, and that's our relationship with the old man.
Shall we say that the party Edel was with was looking for a rogue lycanthrope, perchance, for another link?
Oh, That would be
It's really
that
great.
would be a really interesting angle. And then the priest was like, "Nope, nothing here."
Well, he's a priest. He's got to be honest. All right, boys, pack it up. We're out of here.
Where are we again?
Where am I?
All right. So now we got some fun tie-ins with everybody. Is there anything else that we forgot to go over? So I am going to assume, at the very least for the first stream, that whenever we're doing some basic stuff that we are now taking for granted, because we've been playing this system for quite a while, that we're going to explain things like accuracy checks, how damage works, how doing things works. I'm assuming that's all going to happen in real time in session 1, right?
Yes, I believe that's how it shall work.
All right. So in that case, if I can commandeer the focus for a minute, what's the tech level? I need to know this. It's rather important.
Right, it is rather important.
Facebook?
Facebook?
What?
Oh, I said in Creek's Crook, very low. It would make sense for you to be amazed by every little piece of technology you find.
Well, not so much that as it is like when we go to the Essequiba, for example, if we ever end up there, or even just the skyship that Priscilla's bringing back. So I know we have our resident anti-steampunk.
That's me.
So steampunk aesthetics are out, and we don't want really super high technology from the little bits and pieces that we've been gathering. So, little tidbit as to how these skyships work. I think I've explained it briefly, but just to recap, is the reason they can fly is a special little thing called skystone, which is made from elemental gems kind of mixed together and formed into one particular stone that when heated traps latent air energy and causes things to float and have negative buoyancy. Or buoyancy. Whatever the correct term is. Priscilla knows, I don't. And then if it gets cooled down, it loses its ability to get air and then causes the things to sink, which is how Priscilla's hammer works and how the skyships work. And then the Magitech aspects is a bunch of wiring and metal that basically allows for conducting of magical energies in order to perform very specific tasks. So essentially, for the thrust of an airship, for example, you could channel fire elemental magic through Magitech cords in order to cause propulsion. And that's basically how it works. So it's not so much electricity. So electricity obviously is one of the main elements. So it'll be used, but it's not like circuitry and things like that. It's more very specific conduits to allow magic to be used in very specific ways without constant supervision by someone like an elementalist. So a basic Magitech device basically allows you to perform things an elementalist could do without any of the training.
I think that shall denote the height of technology. That's pretty impressive. If a individual from Creek's Crook were to go to the Essequiba, it would be like somebody from, I don't know, say, rural Utah going to Tokyo for the first time. Like someone who's never really... Yeah, like that. Like, whoa, oh my God, the future.
It's actually a pretty fair comparison because, it's less like this is something that's completely unknowable and more like, oh, wow, they have all of that.
Honestly, perfectly fine with that. I just wanted to figure out where the upper rungs were. That way, when I'm narrating how Priscilla is navigating the airship and how she uses her hammer, I didn't just say something wrong.
Quite good. Unless True or anybody else has anything to add, I think that concludes everything we needed to speak on. If not, we will do some patch notes later. I don't know. Shall we do a round of advertisements? The Fang Ridge on pretty much every single social media platform. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us here. And watch our streams every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Our very first session 1 shall be next Wednesday at 6 p.m. And quite
Eastern
quite,
Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time. That's a good point. Well, I don't know how to end a stream. This is like ending a presentation in school or something. I guess we say, well, yep, that's it, and we say bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the Fang Ridge Fables, and we look forward to seeing you all.
Welcome to
can't
the
wait
Fang
go.
Ridge.
I'm gonna fang my ridge.
All right, you have to get one in before the end of the session.
Yeah, I had to get one.
Goodbye, dearest viewers.
Woohoo! Bye bye.